I'm Jerry Blevins. Well, most of you know me by Jerry. Um, I wanted to make one last video. I wanted to say a couple of things and then maybe give you some my ideas. I first of all want to thank everybody that voted no on the Constitution. I think we all realize now it was a bad idea. It turned out to be bad, and even other tribes now are trying to go back and redo theirs. So it proved that we were right in the long run. But the issue is not going to go away. And so, but right now we had a victory, and we have every right to enjoy that victory and to celebrate that victory. And but let's understand that the battle was won, but the war is not won. We still have to win the war. Now, it feels good to win a battle, but understand that we're we're fighting amongst ourselves. We're fighting our own people. And they may be motivated by outside sources. They may be motivated, uh, maybe they're motivated to do what's right by the people. Maybe they might be motivated for um, their own motives, their own hidden agendas to get more land, greed. Who knows, huh? All we know for a fact is that there's a lot of graft on our reservation. There's a lot of graft in our government. And their attempt to change it the way they didn't stop any of that. Because when you really realize it, it's not the Constitution that doesn't work. It's not it's not the new Constitution. It's the fact that corruption is in the heart of people, and we can't trust people because the heart of man is corrupt. The Bible says that. So whatever, if even if we put in a brand new Constitution, the fact of the matter is that corrupt people will still go ahead and corrupt it. So we don't address the corruption by trying to put in people. It's not going to work. The only way we can address the corruption is through oversight. And we can restructure our government so that the people have more oversight and more control over the money that's spent. We can change this whole system within the system. We don't need a new constitution. And that's what I'm saying. So, but first, I want to congratulate all of you that did vote no for the Constitution. And I'm proud. It makes me proud to be Blackfeet, and it makes me proud that my people aren't as foolish as our leaders seem to be. So there's a lot of wisdom within our people. But getting back uh, to what I was saying, the fact that we won the Constitution, I mean, we defeated the Constitution, only signals to them that they still have work to do. It does not mean that by any means that they're not going to give up and come at us in another way. As a matter of fact, I watched some of the general council meeting on the TV today, and Barnes was talking about that there's a resolutions being held up by the judicial department, and they're asking for the right to kick undesirables off of the reservation. See, this is what was in the new Constitution also. They want the right to start kicking people off the reservation. And maybe some of those people really do need to be kicked off if they're running around, if they're bashing our children's head in, if they're bashing each other's head in, if they're doing things that are causing death and destruction to individuals and are dangerous to individuals and are selling this poison, this methamphetamine poison to our children. They should be run off the reservation. But does that include for you guys that are trying to push this Joe McKay and on Harry Barnes? This also does this apply to you? That's my question. Because does it apply for those elite people who like to? Huh? Does it apply to those elite people that likes to shove that nose candy up their nose? You know, we're not raised in a vacuum. We know who uses Coke on this reservation and who doesn't. Well, I don't know everybody that does, but I know that there's an elite crowd up there and they're into Coke. So when you say kicking off undesirables, you're not talking about your atmosphere, about your circle of friends, even though they do drugs. And you can't say that they don't. I know they do. And so if you can't, you're wanting to kick people off the reservation that you say are undesirable. My question is there a definition to that term, undesirable? Because to me, Harry Barnes is undesirable. But I don't have the right to kick him off, but he has the right to kick me off if he decrees me as being undesirable. I will have something to say about it, and that won't be an easy job, I can tell you that, if he wants to get rid of me. I will fight to my life for what I think is mine, or what I think I have a right to. And no white man is going to sit up on that council and start saying what what enrolled members can be departed or run off of their reservation. Barnes is a white man, McKay is from across the line. Neither one of them should be on the rolls. And they're sitting at the top of our organization trying to get a power to kick you and people and anybody they seem as undesirable off of the reservation. So they're still pushing ahead with this idea of the new Constitution. They're just going to do it now through resolution and through policy. See, they are going to wiggle their way back in there. So I'm telling you, it's not over until we get this matter settled. And so what I think we need to do is, first of all, get rid of Barnes and McKay and Hungry Wolf or Rising Wolf or whatever his name is. Hell is his name? Running Wolf. And the rest of those Masonites that's on there. We need to get rid of them. We need to take our government back, and we can't take it back if we have a lot of people in there who are trying to take it from us. They're telling us, hey, this don't work, but they're not trying to make it work because the corruption isn't in the system, it's in the people. And this system's been run by Earl Oldpersons for 50 years, and there's been nothing but corruption. There's been nothing to teach to our children. That man has a lot to stand for and a lot to speak up to when he meets our Creator. He's got a lot of explaining to do. But be that as it may, I still think that we need to get those people out of there. Now, I haven't heard any ideas of how this, like I said, the battle is over, but the war is not won. But we're going to get into another battle here, and we should not wait until this battle comes to us. So therefore, we need to take the battle to them. And in order to do this, we need to make sure and pass some resolutions that says we want our general council fully back for the full day with just people speaking on their issues. That's for now. But I also think we need to really consider separating our government into 4 different directions. Picture a medicine wheel, and where you would picture the medicine wheel from, let's look at it like a clock, from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock would be the administration of our contracts and grants and all that, the federal money that comes in to that section. Okay, now on opposite on that would be our business section, say from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So that would be our business section. We can separate our business like from our corporate charter and put it in that section. We're not giving up anything from it, but we're putting that separate. We're separating the corporate charter and the business from the governance of the people. So we're separated in this. So we start taking money out of the picture. We start taking the chaos and the confusion out of the picture, and when we start separating these entities, so we can separate the business section which would also deal with our corporate charter although it would still be underneath the whole Constitution. This is within our own government. So we would have our business section, which would be governed by our corporate charter, and we can amend our corporate charter. Don't forget that. It is written in the corporate charter that it can be amended. It's also written in the Constitution that we can amend that. So why can't we amend both documents so that they flow easily together, and that we can generate some business out of this? So, but we need to separate uh, the running of the corporation from the administration of the people of the corporate of the Constitution. Now, the third section that would be separated would be from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Okay, we can put our judicial system there. So we would have our business section, or the running of our contracts and grants and our governance of the people, and then down here, in from 9 to 6, we would have the judicial system. Now that leaves one section open, the fourth section that I want to talk about. That would be from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and we could put a section in there, and you can call it just about give it a name. I don't really have a name for it, but I would call it just for one thing. What I'm going to be talking about, I'll just call it central accounting. Okay, make that a business, not a business, but pull that out on a section on itself. It'll be its own part. And in there, we could put internal affairs so that we can start making the other three branches of government, making sure that they're following the policies that are going to be set in place. So there, they would be the oversight section. And out of also the internal affairs section would come out the right to investigate any wrongdoings of graft, any threats, or anything. They would have the right to investigate, and they have the power over all of the other to do that, to investigate. So we have this section set aside for oversight. It'd be our oversight committee, our internal affairs committee, but the budget would actually come out of this section. And this is the section where the people will be able to go in and use the oversight, use the internal affairs, talk to the internal affairs. And the people would have access to this, as also have access to the budget. Now, what ties all these sections together in the center is the general counsel. So we would have the administrator from the contracts and grants. You can limit that to 1, 2, or 3 people. On the corporate or the business side, we can have maybe a chairman, or not, whatever you want, a CEO or president, but they would be separate. And then we would have the court administrator, and then whoever's that we would vote in for under the section for internal affairs, or the budget. Now, when all these sections, when they request money, they would have all this money separated, but they would all be within this one concise budget made up out of 4 sections. So out of finance, out of not finance but budget control, we will be able to see the requests for money. We would be able to see the checks that are cashed and returned. We would be able to see where the money is going. We would be able to see what money is coming in. We would be able to see what companies are paying money. We would be able to look into all these things through, because they would all have to go through central accounting, which the people would have access to. Well, the people would have access to all of it, but through central accounting, that we would have the right to go in there and look at the books and look at policy. All, not just finance, but all policy would have to come through also through central accounting and internal affairs, part of central accounting. So that we, as through internal affairs, we can go through there and we can look at all the resolutions. We can look at all the business activities, all the things that are being done has to come through internal affairs. So they would be a part of it. I mean, have not go through them, but have to be, if they write a resolution, a copy has to be sent to Internal Affairs so that the people have a right to go there and read and see what the latest developments are. Now, in the center of this is the uh, general council, and the general council is actually being made up of all those four sections who will be giving a report to the people. They're not the ones going to be sitting there and just listening to the people's complaint and all this. This is not what we're talking about. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a fifth wheel here. I'm talking about we have the four sections of our government all meeting together on one day, but they're not meeting together as in a planning sense. They're meeting together with the people that they are elected to represent. That's the day they meet with the people, and that's the day they stand up and give the people reports on the latest developments in business activities and what problems they're running into and what problems need to be resolved, what new laws they want to put into place. And they can discuss these things right there out in the open with the corporate charter. Now, this doesn't mean that the people that are in the that are a part of uh, the council or the general counsel have any more authority than anybody. But we're there to listen, to ask questions, and to give our opinion. Those four sections will all vote on, they will make up our whole government, and they will all sit and decide. Um, and then if there's something that has to be discussed and decided outside of the general council, then that's their jobs. They can meet on their own. Uh, but they have to remain separate. But when we say the lease money, where would that go? Would that come under business, or would that come under contracts and grants administration? Where would that go? These things have to be worked out. Maybe some things we can put under under the business section for the use and development of business, and other sections would the money would be put under other entities for other purposes. But those things will be worked out in the general council. So there might be some problems with this. I understand that. But it's an idea, and I haven't heard any other ideas. But if we look at it from a medicine wheel and say, okay, we have our business, we have our governance of the people, our programs, we have our oversight, and we have our judicial. So all areas are covered, including the oversight, because the central accounting would be part of that oversight, and it would be responsible to the people, not just, but they would have to administer the budget and make a report to the people on the administration of that budget. See, this makes everybody and all the other three sections, and even the fourth section of counting, makes it all responsible to the general council, which includes all of these sections. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's a part of it in the general council, and a part of that. It'd be more like a business meeting than just the public meets the government kind of thing. So the business should actually take place. So we can write it up so that there's more than one day. We can have one day for business. We can have one day for programs and grants. We can have one day just for the judicial system to work things out. These things can all be, it's still putty. We can put this and that. We can move things around because it's not it can be moved around because nothing's really in place yet. But once we separate these powers, then that original resolution is satisfied. And no more attempts by our leaders to interfere with that. Our leaders are Harry Barnes, Joe McKay, Hungry Wolf, or Rising Wolf, or that Wolf guy, what the hell is his name? Running Wolf, Barnes, McKay, at Kennerly, uh, they're all they all represent the upper class. They all represent them. They don't represent anybody on down that call themselves the real people. See, it's they still want to govern over us. They don't want to include us. They want to be separate, and they're moving away from that community thing, and they're moving away into privacy, and this is the way the white man works. This is the way the white man set it up, and so they knowing that they're following the white man patterns, that frame of mind. They're in the white man frame. They're operating out of a white man frame. So everything that they're thinking within that frame. I guess they never heard of thinking out of the box, because that's what a box is a frame. So when they say think out of the box, they're saying get out of that frame of mind, get out of that frame. So they can't get out of this frame. For some reason, they want to kick off undesirables. Why? Okay, they can do that anyway. They can kick people off. But when they use the term undesirables and without any court hearings, without presenting your case, I mean they're talking about your enrollment status. They're talking about what the home you're entitled to live in of our people. This is very serious. This isn't just some white man thing. Well, yeah, okay. If somebody's picked up for trafficking, for human trafficking, of course, even if they've been, um, let's say, paroled or whatever, you can kick those people off for all the things that are being done. But if you're going to kick people off for every little crime that they do, then aren't we just kind of being selective into the kind of people we want here? And in that sense, does not we cease to become a free society? Because those people that then are protected and surrounded by the government and brought up by how and taught how to think by the government, they become government property, you might say. My problem is that we can't just kick people off the reservation. Now, if they're going around kicking people's heads in, yeah, I grew up. When I grew up, there was a lot of fist fighting going on. A lot of fist fighting going on. Got into a few fights. Um, some very dangerous stuff out there. Even when we were growing up, a lot of you know that. A lot of you have gone through it with me and with us, and so we know that. But that's what they talk about development, and you get older and you realize how the immoral things that we used to do. But people change, and that's the problem with this. You can be convicted of manslaughter, of murder, whatever, and you can be a hellraiser. You can do a lot of bad things in your youth, but you have the right, you have the ability to change. We all have that ability. I've changed. I used to be like that, but I've changed. I no longer do those kinds of things. And I would say, yeah, let's kick some people off the reservation. But let's say, okay, well, if they're going to kick off the reservation, if they live off the reservation and live a good life, then we should be able to let them back on because people do change. People do repent. People do mourn for the things they've done, and they feel sorry. And we've got to allow those people the grace to say, "Well, come back. You've lived a good life off the reservation. You've shown us that you can. You're welcome to come back, but you will be gone again if you do anything." But just to kick people off, and the problem I have with this, Mr. Barnes, is that you, my friend, are a white man. You don't have 1/64th blood in you. You have none. I know about your past. I know who your mother was. I know who took care of you. And I know about you, Joe McKay, all of your relatives, how you got over here, who your mother was, who your dad was, and how much blood they have. So you don't have it either. So both of you, neither of you belong on that council. So let's get some facts straight and stop beating around the bush. I don't want a white man coming up the head of becoming the head of our tribe and then kicking our people off the reservation. This is the ultimate slap in the face. And for anybody who thinks that that's a good idea, with no way to come back on, just to be banished. Now, like I said, if they're selling poison to our kids, they're selling poison to our people, then we should banish them off the reservation. But understand this. The same thing goes for that damn hospital up there. There is more poison coming out of that hospital, infecting more of our people than meth is. Prescription drugs are rampant on this reservation, and the hospital is pushing it. So these also are the people that should be run off the reservation. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Those just because they're white people and they're selling legal drugs and the government's buying from, they're using us as guinea pigs. They're using us as products. As much as the pharmaceutical companies, they're not doing nothing for our health people. They're giving us drugs. And the pharmaceutical companies are making off with millions of this stuff. Millions. I went through Hep C treatment, $90,000 a month for 3 months. And the shit only cost $15 or $1,500 to make. Now in other countries, I'm seeing that the treatments are $800. The pharmaceutical companies are using us to get rich on. They don't want anybody selling meth to us. They're going to kill us themselves. So if you're going to kick people off the reservation for selling poison to our children, and you have mental health pills and you're giving it to our children, you're just as much as guilty of giving them meth. You should not be giving mental health pills to our children, but yet you're allowing it to happen. So let's really get down to this, huh? If you want to be really push against these undesirables, what about the people that are in the corrupt government, the people who rip off the government, the people who sell out the government, the people who we know have done wrong? Are they undesirable? Or just because they are ex-councilman's family? What about the councilman that actually did crimes and nothing was ever done about it? See, this is all one-sided, Barnes. This is all one-sided. You're there to protect all those people, even if they commit a crime, like backing over your grandchild, drunk, and not even being charged for that? You're kidding me. This is what I'm talking about. You guys get away with everything, but all the laws are made for us. So let's be clear about this. If you're going to write laws to get rid of undesirables, then you better make a list of who those undesirables cover, because those people at the hospital are undesirable. Those people that treat us like shit are undesirable. Those people that treat us like we're cows, who have no sense of compassion, no sense of honesty or even decency or even a good attitude. I'm sick and tired of this, and many of our people are too. So if you're going to kick Joe Blow off the reservation for doing what he's doing, then you got to do the same thing to Dr. Blow, because we've got to do this. And what about those people that are at the BIA and the things they're doing? You are allowing to be done to us. Joe McKay, you come after us. You got the BIA to do it. You had the BIA come after us. This is how much you fought against us. And our own government, you're supposed to be with us, helping us. Instead, you come out against us, you and Barnes and Running Face and all the rest of them. You guys all come out against us. And the people have to really understand that. Our government is not for the people. They need to be cut off. So that's my spiel. I've been 29 minutes. I want you all to understand that I love my people. I love my country. And if they want to kick me off the reservation, I'm not going to go. They can run me off, but I'll be back. I'm not going to let a white man run me off the reservation. And I think there's a lot of other people that think the same way. So good luck on your little policy, Barnes. We'll just see how far that goes, because you're going to end up in danger. Not by me, but there's some people that will not take that. Understand that.